Hello, and welcome back to the Casual Chaos Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Ash. I'm joined, as always, by Bubba and Jeff. What is up, fellas?
How you doing, guys? How you doing, Bubba?
I'm doing great. 1 week closer to NFL football, or just
We're
football in general.
We're getting there. Yeah, a couple weeks away, right? So
Yeah.
we're getting there. Hey, let's talk about the biggest news of the day. Did you guys hear that we got a Jake Paul Tank Davis fight set for November?
Hi, guys. I'm doing great. What's happening?
Oh, that's awesome.
I got no. I'm not getting skipped over for how I'm doing today. What's going on for Jake Paul?
Jay,
Not happening.
how are you, buddy? Did you
I'm
hear
doing
there's
fantastic,
you hear
yeah.
there's a Tank Davis fight set for November? Have you heard
Yeah,
that?
that's great. Can't wait. It's unbelievable.
Actually, it's going to be interesting, right? Because I don't think there's a 60-pound weight difference between those two guys, which is ridiculous.
And a pretty significant height difference.
Oh,
right?
oh yeah, and a reach the whole thing. But I hope Tank goes in there trying to knock.
I think he's
going
gonna.
to.
I think Jake Paul is going to get his ass beat.
I hope so. I don't. We'll see what happens. But anyway, all right, Jay Ash, what's on the docket, my friend?
Well, I don't know. My insight on the Tank fight is guys that are small, typically not named Tank. However, there is a good pro boxer named Tank, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, what's going on, Jeff, is we're here for the Casual Chaos Podcast, which is the sports wagering community. We pulled this in a little bit. It's actually Wednesday night. It's officially 8 p.m. as we're recording this, and you can follow us, as always, on the socials at Casual Chaos Live, Instagram, X, TikTok, all the socials. We're out there. We're on it. Facebook. You can find us. If you're an avid fan, which most of you are, you're watching or listening to the pod on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple. As always, this is about the community, everybody that's into sports wagering, baseball, football, basketball, you name it, we're doing it. Football is obviously coming back. You could just kind of feel the vibe shift a little bit. But, baseball, we're going to talk about. We're actually going to talk about a bigger story that happened today than the announcement of a Tank and Jake Paul fight. We'll get into that. So before we get into the actual show, because we have a little tease, a little announcement, Jeff, you asked what's on the docket today.
Mm-hmm.
The fans are going to be excited because they were unaware of it and we didn't promote it at all. But today is the official college football gambling preview brought to you by the Casual Chaos Podcast.
Hell yeah.
It was a last minute decision. By last minute, I mean last week. So we have plenty of time to prepare. So you will not be disappointed in the gambling analysis. And let's remind everybody, this is a gambling show, or at least we're talking about sports gambling and the wagering aspect of it. We are not trying to compete with your analysts on ESPN or various other sports networks or podcasts. And if you want to hit us up and tell us we suck, by all means do so. We'll give you an over-under on how often we respond to it. All right. So before that, though, let's just check some boxes here. We had a new participant send in a ticket. And although we put the Talking Ticket segment on hold, we wanted to give Big Dog Flem a quick shout out. He threw in a ticket yesterday, which was a winner, and gave us a play tonight as well. So producer Tyler, if you want to flashbang those up on the screen, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Coach Flem throwing us a winner on his first bet with us here. He had the Rockies to win outright over the Dodgers. They were plus money, and then he had the Guardians to beat the Diamondbacks, also plus money. So nice little $10 wager, paid out $50 on our friends over at the Hard Rock Sportsbook. And then we also had his bet for today, which his bet for today is the Brewers plus 1.5 and the under in runs of 7.5. They are playing the Cubbies of Chicago. And then we had the Blue Jays to win outright and the under 8.5 against the Pirates. So he's got a nice little $10 to win $80 on that one.
Yeah, the Blue Jays already lost though, so he's
Tough scenes.
Yeah.
Well, you can't win every bet you send us, but keep sending them in. We appreciate you, Coach.
What I like about Big Dog's bet there is the strategic use of same game parlays to juice the odds a little bit to bring that up. Because if you take the same game parlays out, those are falling probably closer to 2-1, 3-1 with the minus odds. So it's sophisticated. Big Dog, welcome to the show.
Did he get that Rockies line live? Because it was only plus 125, so maybe he got it in like the 8th inning and they were up a run.
Not sure.
I know you can do that on the Hard Rock, but I don't imagine they were plus 125 to start the game.
What do you think they'd be? More?
Plus 220?
Oh, okay.
Against the Dodgers?
Dodgers have been a little bit on the skid, right?
Let's see. Bubba, I'll look. Let's see what I mean, this is going to be off of ESPN, but let's see what they had. Because they actually, you could see the lines even after the game ends. So let's see what they had here.
I think I saw something the other day that like since middle of July or something like that, I think these two teams have very similar records. I could be wrong, but I think in like the last 25 games.
Tonight it's lopsided. I looked at the line for tonight. Shohei's on the mound, so I know tonight it's lopsided.
Yeah, you might be right. Although he's only going to pitch a couple innings.
Yeah,
so
I thought he was hurt.
Yeah. Oh, he is. He's coming back from that. And anyway, he's coming back from. It's funny. Ashton sent me a text today that Ashton, what was it? He's like started 9 games. He's thrown like 11 innings or something like that.
Yeah, he's thrown 23 innings over 9 games, which is not a lot of innings, and he's 0-0.
Yeah,
he has no record.
Well, he doesn't pitch long enough to get a record. That's why, So
right, which is what I want out of my starters.
Yeah, you were pretty spot on there, Bubba. Yeah, I believe ESPN bet their sports book, I believe, had it. They were plus 240 to start that game. This was Monday night, actually, the Monday night game. So yeah, he must have got it sometime live, but it looks like they weren't winning until the 8th inning.
So he must have got it when they went up either in the 8th and then 8th or the 9th, and then
just on it, just watching baseball and live betting, man. Good for Coach.
Man. It's the second most bet sport in the country, so keep that.
162 games of them.
Well, sure, of course, yeah.
Well, speaking of baseball and not the betting variety, we got to throw it in. Jeff and I are originally from the lovely state of Connecticut, and the Little League World Series. We got a championship run going on here, so we'll be playing in the championship to represent the country against most likely Chinese Taipei, I would imagine, right?
No, I'm not sure. I mean,
Aruba?
I think the Caribbean beat Japan today. I don't know if that sent them to the. I don't know if that sent them to the final, the actual finals or the next round. But Japan did get beat, and South Carolina's playing somebody right now to
one of the
South Dakota.
There you go.
South Dakota's up 1-0 over South Carolina, and then tomorrow, Aruba will face off against Venezuela to see who will play in the international bracket side, I would believe.
Producer Tyler on top of it. Good job, man.
Yeah, that's what I do.
There you go.
We can go to the map there. I think Aruba and Venezuela are probably the same distance away from South Carolina and South Dakota. It's good regional matchups.
Yeah.
I like that. So anyway, big shout out to the kids from Fairfield, Connecticut, making a run here. So hopefully they're bringing it home and getting to the big dance. So either way, it's a milestone. So we're proud of them.
Good stuff.
Before we get into the college preview, we've got 2 topics. One, we're coming off of week 2. I think there's a consensus that we'll get to later of F the Lions from last week, but we'll bring that up in a later segment. But any quick storylines or things you're paying attention to coming out of week 2? Anything of any important significance, anything along those lines?
No, I mean, not really, right? We talked about Stafford being hurt last week. He's finally starting to practice again, so that's big news for the Rams, right? Mm-hmm. We watched the Bengals play their starters for most of the first half last week, and we saw Burrow take a bit of a beating, which I'm sure Bengals fans weren't happy about. Daniels played pretty well for Washington, so I'm sure they're hoping that there's no sophomore slump there. But other than that, I don't have much for you. So
okay, Bubba.
I think the thing that I took out of last week, he's really had 2 good weeks, is the Giants got to be happy with Jackson Dart. I mean, he looks like he's very, very comfortable in the pocket, and he's throwing good passes. Wilson's going to start for them, but they got to be happy with that pick.
So the question there is, and I don't disagree with that part of it, right? They're probably happy with what they're seeing from him. But even if Wilson gets hurt, I don't think Dart's going to play, right? It'll be Winston, right?
Yeah, I mean, because
yeah.
he's looked good too. So
Yeah.
they're saying he might be good trade bait.
Unless they're doing poorly and Dable has to rip cord on the only way I keep my job is if I have a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
Which could save him another year. It could save him another year. I mean, if he just goes out there with Jameis and Russell and they win 6 games, he might be gone.
Yeah, for sure.
See
Jay, what about you?
What about you? I was going to say, Ash, what do you got?
The limited first halves I watched, it was just good to see the starters out there on a lot of offenses and defenses for that matter. I mean, still a ton of all pros and just, elite veterans in street clothes, but it's good to see guys like Burrow play and Daniels play, even if it's just a series. I'm a little, this is more fantasy slanted, but the fact that Travion Henderson is exposing himself to the world where he was supposed to sit back and let only the smart people figure out to draft him earlier or mid rounds in fantasy. Now I'm hearing he's coming up in the 3rd round in most mock drafts. So people are paying attention. And there's another kid out of Ohio State that we're not going to name because same thing. If you're in my fantasy drafts, please discontinue listening to the podcast. So
only thing I would add to that too is I'm interested to see how the Bears are going to be this year with Ben Johnson at the helm, and if Caleb takes a step in the right direction, the complex kind of offense, but looked pretty good in like the 1 or 2 drives that he had, threw a touchdown pass, threw some good balls. If he can get the ball out on time instead of like he's done his whole career of wait, make a bad throw and a decision or take a long sack. He's got talent on, and then in that arm, it's just can he figure out that Ben Johnson offense? And Ben Johnson was very talented with the Lions. So I'm interested to see how the Bears do if they make a little push in that division.
So your description there is pretty funny because I was going to say, and I apologize because I can't remember who it was, but I heard a pod recently, and the guy that was on there was like, he just struggles to read defenses. Like he struggles. So that goes to your point where he's holding on the ball way too long, Yeah,
because he doesn't know what he sees, right? He's just okay. Now this guy's wide open because I can wait 20 seconds. In college, you can do that. You can't do that in the NFL.
Sounds like a lot of sacks or picks.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of how last year went for him. A real low percentage of completion too. Which, if you're going to throw picks and stuff, at least be like 70% when you're throwing to your guys. But he wasn't. He was nowhere near that.
I'm just happy I'm not a Bears fan. It's tough when you have to when you have to root for your quarterback who plays depending on his fingernail polish. So whatever color he picks, good days, bad days. If he's wearing red.
Can you imagine betting on that? Because if they're your team, you're betting on them, right? And you're stressed every single Sunday about that.
So my God, he tipped the nail.
That's a interesting point. What I mean, honestly, when is the last time the Bears had like a legitimately good quarterback?
I could have swore you were going with when's the last time a quarterback painted his fingernails.
Yeah, that's where I thought. I was like, I don't think ever. Probably Cutler. Like if you consider Cutler being like upper half of quarterbacks.
Sure.
Gunslinger for sure.
Zero Hall of Fame QBs.
4,000-yard passer, I believe.
Oh my God.
And I don't think McMahon made a Pro Bowl.
No.
Unless Cutler did, they might not have ever had a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Now, to be fair,
not a good franchise.
And again, you and I are old enough to remember McMahon. He was actually a good quarterback. The problem with him was he was getting pounded. Back then, you used to be able to hit the quarterback, and he used to get the shit kicked out of him. So he ran towards hits too. He didn't run away from hits. He lowered his shoulder. Right.
Yeah, he was a maniac. He was the Johnny Knoxville of quarterbacks back then.
But it's funny, right? I mean, they haven't had a really good quarterback in a long, long time. So
I'm looking at their all-time list of just even stats. Jim Harbaugh's the third guy on the list.
Yeah.
So like that's where we're at with like, and Jay Cutler's one, and Jay Cutler's not that not atrocious. They're not Anthony Richardson, but like I mean it's it is what it is. But Jay Cutler was 51-51 as a quarterback with the Bears, so just 500 quarterback.
Harbaugh was not a great quarterback. Him and Mike Tomczak used to like get yanked for each other like almost every game. So it was like a back and forth between those two guys. Anyway, yeah. So the Bears fans have been struggling when it comes to QBs for a long, long time. So
Yeah, that's not going to change this year.
It's
Yeah.
still continue to
All right.
struggle. Yeah.
It's just whether he makes a progression is where I'm like would be excited if I was a Bears fan with Ben Johnson.
Well, next week is the extravaganza, the gambling preview for the NFL. So I'm sure we'll have plenty of Bears takes and give you some odds on Caleb's numbers as well. So we've got one more thing to hit before we dive deep into the college football foray. Let's talk about a big series in the Bronx this weekend, a 4-game banger. We got the Red Sox and the Yankees, some playoff implications, potential divisional positioning on the line. What do you guys got?
So it's interesting because we talked about the Yankees a week or two ago, and we talked about regression, right? How all of a sudden they were in a rough spot, and all these teams were playing well, and things have turned around that quickly. Right now they're 3 games behind Toronto in the loss column. The last time we talked about them, they were barely holding on to the third playoff spot, right? The third wild card spot. Now they're back in the top wild card spot, and they got like a 2-game lead on the second place team in the loss column. So things switch really, really quickly. The Blue Jays came back down to earth. The Mariners came back down to earth. The Red Sox came back down to earth, and the Yankees finally started winning some games again, which we all expected would happen at some point. But yeah, this series will be interesting because 2 things. First of all, the Yankees are under 500 against the AL East this year. They're over 500 against the other 2 divisions in the AL, but they're under 500 against the AL East. And they're only 1-5 against the Sox. They played 6 games in a 10-game span, and they lost 5 of them. So this is a big series, right? And it is in New York. Judge has started hitting the ball again. He's starting to look back like Judge. The bullpen is pitching well. They have been pitching well for the past couple of weeks. I think the biggest issue, Jay and Bubba, is Fried has, I don't know what. I mean, Fried has not been good for 5-6 weeks now. And when I say not good, I mean he's been awful. I mean, if we're being honest, I mean he's been awful. So
right.
We'll see what happens.
That was the fear with him in his innings count, right? I don't think he's ever gone over 170, maybe 160.
Right.
So I know he's not quite there, but he was a horse early in the season. I wonder if he just exhausted himself. Bubba, what are your takes on this one?
Yeah. I'm trying to find the series odds on it. I mean, you guys know it's going to piss you guys off, but I'm a Red Sox fan for the wrong reasons. So I'm here against 2 Yankee fans. So I think the Red Sox will actually be a dog. I know you just threw out some crazy numbers that say otherwise, but I think in the series it'll be either even money or they might be a dog.
They will.
Yeah. And I'll take the Red Sox all day to win at least. If they split, I guess it won't end up well for me. You won't win any money, but I think they can take 3 out of 4. They do play again at the end of the season. There's another series in Boston. It's a 3-game series, so that one will have more playoff implications, hopefully, for both of our sakes. But
maybe, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, you'll have more ramifications besides not winning money. You'll actually lose money.
Yeah.
So it's a double whammy.
Well, Bubba, I'll tell you, again, even though they're playing in New York, I'll be happy if we get a split out of this series. I mean, obviously, I hope the Yankees win, but if we get because again, the Yankees got swept the last time they played, so if they could get a split, that's progress,
Yeah.
So.
It is Don't Call Me Croquet pitching for Boston.
He will be, yeah.
That's probably our one loss. So,
all right.
I'll call it out. Yanks 3-1. Devers isn't there anymore. He was the Yankee killer.
I like the thinking. I like it.
Yeah, he was the Yankee killer.
Yeah. So, all right. Unless we have any more baseball to cover.
You know what? I wanted to mention one thing. Schwarber for the Phillies having a monster year. Hit his 45th home run today.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. He's 32 years old. He'll be 33 next year. So he's in line for a monster contract from somebody. I don't know if the Phillies are going to pay him, but somebody's going to give him a monster deal. So
where's he from? Do you know where his hometown is?
I do not.
He is from Ohio, Middletown, Ohio.
I know he plays cards at the Tampa Bay Downs. So
My dad said when
he used to.
he went to Indiana, and my dad was a baseball coach at the University of South Florida, and he played against my dad in Indiana at Clearwater, where the Thrashers, the Phillies minor league team, plays. And my dad said Kyle Schwarber, when he was in college, hit one of the furthest balls he's ever seen hit. He hit like a 480-foot home run.
He's not like a huge guy either. Like
he was skinny back then too,
and even now he's not like tall. He's not like a impressive guy, but he hits tanks.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
If you look at his numbers and stuff, and assume he's only 32, he's going to probably play for what at a high level 6 more years. Mm-hmm. He might hit 500 home runs. Which is Kyle Schwarber a Hall of Famer? Because he's a career 230 hitter, but if he got 500 home runs, outside of steroid guys, you're in, right? So is he in?
Well, it's funny because you kind of hit on what I was just going to talk about. Is that he's I give him credit because he's gotten better as a player over the years. I mean, he's always been able to hit home runs, right? But
correct.
He was a huge strikeout guy. He was a very low average guy, and he's improved on both of those metrics. And he's and again, I say only in quotation marks because only $100 million is a hell of a lot of money. But in baseball terms, he's only made $100 million in his career, and he's gonna
he's gonna get paid.
Oh, he's gonna get a monster. He's gonna get like what? 4/160, 5/200 is probably what I'm guessing, something like that.
Yeah. So. 3 years ago for the Phillies, and I think that might have been the year that they went to the World Series. He hit 47 home runs, led the league in strikeouts, only batted 197.
Yeah.
197.
I will tell you though,
that's abysmal.
I've obviously seen them play in the postseason, and I will say this though, he has the clutch gene, I think. Like in big time spots, he hits a home run or he hits a double off the wall. He's pretty.
Yeah, he's a gamer. He's a gamer.
The David Ortiz effect.
We were just talking about the Red Sox. I bet you they wish they still had him. I mean, they basically gave up on him a few years ago.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
No doubt.
That's talking baseball.
All right, moving on. Let's get into some college down and dirty.
All right, so college football is starting. The main season starts next weekend, right? Is there a game this weekend? There's like one game this weekend.
Yeah, we got week 0.
There's double-digit games this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next Saturday slate. Yeah.
All right, but so week 1, if we're gonna call this week 0, we got week 1 coming up, right? Next weekend, you got a bunch of big games. You got Notre Dame, Miami. You got Clemson, LSU, right? And you got Ohio State, Texas. So you got 3 premier games next weekend, which I'm looking forward to. So let's talk a little college football. We're going to break this up into sort of 2 mini segments, right? First of all, let's just talk just football in general. Let's just for the time being, let's take gambling out of it, okay? And let's just talk. How about top 10 teams? I guess let's start here. What are you guys thinking as far as? It feels like a very wide open year, more so than normal. So, Bubba, what are you thinking about as far as true title contenders this year?
All right, odds wise, or you said take the gambling out?
No, take the gambling out of it.
I'll take the gambling out of it. I think I think people are sleeping on 3 teams. I think Clemson is going to have a really, really strong team. They went and got a great defensive coordinator who was previously, I think, with Penn State. They had a top 10 defense.
Yeah.
They got some playmakers coming back. I think they're going to be good. I think Alabama's going to creep back up into the conversation as far as national titles go. Mm-hmm. And then Georgia too. And it sounds crazy saying people are sleeping on Georgia, but they had a down year, and I think they made up for it in the offseason. So those are the 3 teams that I like: Clemson, Alabama, Georgia.
So I mean, as far as, and again, I'm not talking about gambling wise. I'm saying like those are your 3 teams you think might have a chance to win the title this year.
Yeah.
Okay, Ash, what about you?
Yeah, I don't think many people are sleeping on Clemson. I mean, they're preseason number 4 or on the AP, depending on where you are. And I'm pretty high on them as well. So we'll touch more on them later. Looking at the top 25, I'd throw Oregon out of there. I would throw LSU out of there. They might make a run at the playoffs, but I don't like them to be national championship contenders. I think Texas, Ohio State, Clemson, and Notre Dame are real contenders. We'll see what happens, what the brackets look like when we get to the show. But I'm down on Penn State. Not that they're not going to make the playoffs, and not that they probably don't go 11-2 or whatever that record is, but I don't see them winning a national title. I think Franklin's a good coach. I don't think he's an elite coach, and I don't think he steps up in big games, period.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
And Jeff, to your point, about week 1, there's a lot of big games, and I was reading an article that said like five years ago those games would have had national championship implications. Now they don't.
You're right.
They don't. So
yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's kind of weird, but I kind of like the new playoffs. So I guess we got to put up with it. It'll be definitely some good football.
I'm okay with it too. I mean, it used to be that if you lost one game, you were basically done for the most part. I mean, now you still you do a bunch of teams that made the playoffs last year and had 2 losses. I think even one had 3 losses, right? I think somebody made the playoffs with 3 losses. Now let's hope they never go to what the Big Ten's trying to do with 28 teams. I mean, that's freaking ridiculous. But
let's clarify something real quick though, and I agree with everything you guys are saying. Right? When we let off here, it was who are title contenders. We didn't break this segment up because it would have taken A, too long, and B, the odds are all over the place for who makes the playoffs. Right. But if you're a fan of anybody listed in the top 25, you're thinking we're going to the playoffs, right? We have an opportunity, right? So, we'll get into it when we go into the Power 5, if you will. But, if you're a Miami fan, you just got to beat Clemson and don't lose a stupid game like you usually do. If you're SMU, hey, we were right there last year. We probably could have beat Clemson. You know what I mean? What are we returning? So I think if you're looking at it from that perspective, I think the conferences are going to be fun to watch. The SEC, there's some teams in there just got brutal buzzsaw schedules. And then there's teams in the Big Ten where you're just kind of like Indiana last year, you didn't play anybody. So that's going to impact the playoff stuff. So the only thing I really like about the extended playoffs is that aspect of we do have a tournament. I just hate the way it plays out. I don't like the inconsistency in the voting. Head to head doesn't matter, but it kind of does. Those type of things.
And it takes away the excuse too that's been used for years leading up to this. Is now everybody has a chance. There's no fucking excuses, right? It's like you're in the playoff, win, and then you're there. So, but there is a chance though, Jeff. I don't want to interrupt, but there's a chance though that we could be watching the national championship game with the new playoff and all, with Texas and Ohio State playing in week 1. We could be watching that game.
All the week 1 matchups. For that, all the big ones: Clemson, LSU, Miami, Miami, Notre Dame.
Yep.
Bama, Georgia. Oh, by the way, Bama, Georgia. That's the 4th game we mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I would mention, and you mentioned it a little bit with Indiana, you can have a powder puff schedule and make it to the playoffs now. It's almost better to have a weak schedule than it used to be. You had to you had to get those good teams in there. Indiana went to the playoffs last year. They had an opportunity to play for. I mean, they lost to the team that went to the national championship game, right? So, I mean, they had an opportunity with a weak schedule, to your point. So it does benefit teams to have those weaker schedules, and with the bigger conferences now, you can get lucky and get Florida's got a buzzsaw schedule again this year. They're going to get screwed, like teams like that. But it's almost better to have a weak schedule and then come in second in the SEC, or third in the SEC. You're probably going to get in.
Don't sleep on Missouri doing that. They got the easiest schedule in the SEC.
It'll be interesting to see, right? Because there was so much negative talk about Indiana making the playoffs last year.
Correct.
Just for the reason you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if maybe the committee sort of changes the way they do things.
Maybe.
Like, for example, South Carolina didn't make the playoff last year. South Carolina had a really good year, and one of their losses was complete nonsense because the referees
that was brutal. That pick 6 that they just completely just butchered that call.
Right. So you would think that they would start taking that stuff into account.
True.
Who knows? Maybe they will, maybe they won't. We'll see what happens. But
I'll say this, just a quick little, breeze the tower here. If you play in the Big Ten and you have to play any school that starts with the letter I, you better come to play this year.
All right. Well, you know what? That's a sneak peek. So let's start real quick. Let's just talk about the American real quick. Because most people think the American is probably the 5th best conference in the country. Okay. Behind it, the Power Four. All apologies to the new Pac-12. I guess they're back to calling themselves the Pac-12, but a lot of people think the American is the best conference. I personally, I think Tulane is the team this year. Maybe like last year, Navy and Army both had good years. I know you guys being in Florida, you're hoping maybe South Florida has a solid year. But you guys, any other thoughts besides Tulane, or are you guys riding that ship?
No, they're plus 320, and I like them. I mean, they beat the brakes off of Navy last year, I think 35-0 or something like that. So I don't think anything's changed in a year as far as Navy's offseason goes. So I don't see anybody really. I mean, maybe South Florida, but
damn right, baby. Damn right, baby. But they got a tough schedule to start, so we're gonna find out real quick if they can play football this year. Boise State, Florida, Miami. Hey, here we go.
That's a tough 3 weeks, to start especially. But at plus 320, absolutely, I like Tulane.
Yeah. What about you, Ash? Any thoughts there or no?
If we're just talking about, are we talking from a gambling aspect or
no, just in general,
football?
Just in general right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the preseason chalk. I mean, I don't know what Army's going to be like this year. It's always kind of a wild card, but obviously they've been a better program the last few years. Navy's been consistent, and
Navy's got their quarterback coming back, by the way. So.
Correct. Yes, so I'd really like to see what the Roadrunners do. They had a lot of transfers. They didn't lose a ton of talent to the NFL, but that's a sneaky program the last couple of years. But I kind of agree with Bubba there. Tulane is the cream of the crop, and it's not a creamy top. I'll tell you that. So, no. I would think it's Tulane. I would think it's almost like the preseason order: Tulane, Navy, the Roadrunners. I think South Florida is just they're going to be playing from behind it. If they can somehow sneak a win against Boise before they go get their clocks cleaned by the other two Florida schools, it'd be nice to see. But I just think they're going to be most likely 0-3. So you're playing from behind.
Yeah, we always played those. It's weird that USF plays like good teams better than they play bad teams. Like it's just one of those things. Like took Alabama to the wire with Jalen Milroe. Went to Tuscaloosa, almost beat them there. Like had opportunities to win those games. Have beaten all those teams on the road as well. Florida, Miami, FSU. I like South Florida from a gambling perspective just because it's plus 650, and I'm not going chalk with the other stuff. Because I think they have an electric offense. It's just whether they can get any kind of hold on defense. And they made some changes there this year. And I went to USF, so I want them to do well because it's more fun when they're doing well.
Go Bulls.
Yeah.
Go Bulls, baby.
All right, so how about the Big 12, Ash? We'll stick with you to start. What are your thoughts on the Big 12? Just in general. Again, just in general. We'll get to the gambling side of it. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna I already know this, so I'm just gonna step right on Bubba's neck out of the gate. Everybody talking about Texas Tech, the big NIL moves, right? Watch out for Texas Tech. Let's talk about the big NIL moves. They got a running back from USC. Okay, USC, not bad. All right. They got a wide receiver and a left tackle from Miami. Hold that. Miami of Ohio. You got a tight end from Louisiana, not LSU, La Tech. You got a wide receiver from Incarnate Word. Cool.
Cam Ward.
National champions.
Got Incarnate Word. A defensive haul of NIL money from Houston, UCF, and No Ill. No thanks. All right. And our boy McGuire, 7-6 last year, 23-16. So the wild card team that most people are circling there, I'm tossing right away. I think it's a 2-team race. I think it's ASU and Kansas State. Scattaboo leaving breaks my heart. Love that kid. It was so much fun to watch. It was awesome in the playoff game against Texas. But Levitt looked really impressive down the stretch last year with his arm and with his legs. So they got a really good defense. That coach is, I think, 22 now. Super young coach, but the guy's, he's legit. So I think K-State, I think a lot of people forget Will Howard left last year to go to Ohio State and just, win a championship. Avery Johnson was supposed to be, the elite replacement. He's a top 5 multi-purpose quarterback in the class of 23. Kid had his 1 year. He was inconsistent, but showed flashes. So he's got weapons. He's got a nasty running back in Dylan Edwards. Jace Brown's legit wide receiver. They got a good defense. So I think it's a 2-team race. We'll get into the gambling odds later.
Bubba, how about you?
Yeah, I texted you guys earlier, so I kind of teed that up for Jay, but it wasn't so much it wasn't so much the transfers for me. It was just the returning the QB, right? You get stability there. Not that he's been overly fantastic, but they're returning also 2 pretty solid receivers. So I like that. There's a stability standpoint from the offense, and they did get some defensive transfers. They got a veteran linebacker returning who I just think that the team didn't lose much as far as Texas Tech goes, and they only added, and maybe 1 or 2 of those transfers pan out and help them, and they got a pretty easy schedule. I think one of the easiest in the Big 12. It's not the easiest, but it's one of the easiest. So that's why I like them. But the other team that I did like is ASU. They're returning their QB2, obviously. They want another college football spot, and I think they got to win the Big 12 to do it. So they're going to be hungry.
Okay, I'll go with Utah there. I'm gonna swerve. Utah's got always has a good defense. At least they have the past 5 or 6 years. They brought in Dampier from New Mexico, who had a pretty big dual role. He had a monster year last year, both throwing and running the ball. They're which is always important in college, is they're bringing back the bulk of both their offensive and defensive lines. So I'm gonna go with Utah when it comes to winning outright, and I like
that. I like Utah. They always play tough.
Little hint. I'll probably be picking them when it comes to the gambling part of this as well. So, go ahead.
Utah, Iowa State, BYU, Baylor.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to be competitive. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be a fun conference to watch, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be the section for our buddy Garbs, who's a huge Miami Canes fan. Bubba, ACC, what are you thinking?
That's one team for me. It's Clemson. They're off season. The defensive coordinator, like I talked about it earlier. That guy's solid. Is a great coach. I think he's going to get their defense in line. They've got playmakers. I like Clemson. Honestly, I think they're going to have a chance to win the national title. So the ACC for me is all about them. I don't think Florida State's ready. I don't know if Belichick's got UNC ready to rock. That'll be interesting though. I'm interested to see how that goes for them there in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you as far as Clemson, right? They seem to be the odds-on favorite. They seem to be loaded, bringing their quarterback back. Good receivers. Again, they seem to be loaded. That's easy.
He's in the top. The quarterback's in the top 10 for the Heisman too. I think. Or maybe top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Miami's interesting. Got a good coach. Cristobal is obviously a good coach. They brought in Beck. Coming off the elbow surgery, but everything that you're hearing is that he's playing really well, and they're really happy with him. Their defense was a mess last year. Again, as our buddy Paul would be the first to attest, but they went hard into the transfer portal to try to fix that. All that said, I'm still riding Clemson. Ash, you gonna swerve there, or are you joining us?
I did it as a 3.5 team conference. I think Louisville is kind of a wild card. They've got a big game in Miami, but they're solid all around. They probably resemble a little bit more SMU this year, and could sneak up on people like SMU did last year. So it's kind of as far as I go. I would be shocked if they were to win the conference. That means a lot's got to fall in their favor, but they're going to be competitive in every game.
Yep.
So it's going to be fun to watch, but circle that Miami game. I think SMU returning Jennings and Brashard Smith at running back, that offense is still there. Although I didn't really like the way Jennings looked in the championship game or conference championship game. They're bringing back a lot of talent. They'll be confident, and it looks like they have a good coaching staff. we invited Paul to come on after the ND game so he can, debate anything I'm about to say here. I'm expecting the text, when he listens to this. But Miami stacked O-line, right?
Yeah.
Carson Beck no longer dating a Cavender twin. Maybe his head's back in the game. All right. He was way outkicked his coverage on that one anyway. He's got no business dating someone like that. So, there's two things with them, and I don't think any Miami fan would disagree with what I'm about to say. They can't lose a stupid game like they've done the last X number of years, right? There's always one game where you're like, wait a minute, they lost? And then they open with Notre Dame, right? So you got a huge game. You can really set the tone for the season. And depending on which Gators team they get, they got two marquee franchises. If they win both of those games, don't stumble against Louisville, you're right there. So it is Clemson, though. I think Klubnik is going to be like the note I have is he the best quarterback in the country? ? I think he's going to be right there, top 3. Yeah. Pete Woods is the best defensive tackle. They're AP number 4. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here, but I think they beat LSU week 1 because, LSU's coach, he likes to lose in week 1. That's what he likes to do. So I'm probably going to go with Clemson to take the division there. However, Bubba brought it up. So I do think the best story to pay attention to from a gambling standpoint is pay attention to UNC when they are playing bad teams with really bad coaches and watch what Bill Belichick still has left in the tank.
And I got one point to make on that too, but we'll get that into 1 second. So
I got one more thing on the ACC.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I know we're not on the gambling piece of it yet, but over under on how many games Cristobal loses Miami. That's what I would have to say about that. Because he will lose them a game. I'm going to set it at 1.5.
Okay.
That is the line.
That's a fair line. That's a fair line. I think the opposite on Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick's dunzos. Different world in college football.
Wow.
Different world in college football than NFL.
Even with this young hot girlfriend, you think he's done?
Nah, it's just a different world, man.
The only thing I'll argue about that
I'm with Jay on that.
I'll argue.
I'll take the under.
He's a fantastic defensive coach. That never goes away. So
sure.
Now whether they can play offense, which the Patriots didn't do the past few years, he was there. So whether he could get somebody to coach the offense is another story. But defensively, I think they're gonna be a real problem for a lot of the teams in that division.
But Jay did preface it with bad coaches. He said against the bad coaches.
Yeah. I think they get smoked at anybody they play that's a ranked team. I'm just saying when you're looking at a number and you're just like, oh, I don't know, man. Syracuse is playing really well. It's just like, yeah, okay, I'll take Belichick.
Well, I'll also mention this. Since we probably won't talk about North Carolina again, but the one thing that I was going to point out later is they only leave the state 3 times. So, and one of those times is, I think,
NC State.
I take that back. But no, they only leave the state 3 times, between home games and away games. So, that's got to be some sort of advantage, you would think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. All right, let's get to the big boys. So the Big Ten. I'll start. A lot of people are saying it's sort of a 2-horse race between Ohio State and Penn State. There's a difference of opinion on who's the favorite between those two teams. I think the betting world, and again, we'll get to the betting world in a second, but I think the betting world is more on Ohio State slightly. Whereas I think the consensus is just in general is that Penn State is sort of the team to pick there, mostly because they got a ton of players coming back. One of their weaknesses last year was receiver, and they tried to strengthen that up through the portal. And of course, they got the QB coming back, right? He's one of the rare 4-year seniors at a school. You really don't see that much anymore. He played pretty well last year. Although he did throw a huge interception in, the biggest game of the year, the last game of the year when they had a chance to beat Notre Dame, he threw a pick to end the game. So, we'll see what happens. If not now, when, right? Oh. If not now, when it comes to Penn State. So I'm thinking this is their year to win the division, win the conference, I should say. They got Oregon playing in Happy Valley. They don't play Michigan this year in the regular season. They do have to go to Ohio State, but from a schedule standpoint, it's pretty favorable. I'm picking Penn State to win the Big Ten this year. Ash?
Wow.
So I'm going to jump around here a little bit, not answer the question directly. Oregon is slated, top 8. People are almost essentially just walking them to the playoffs. They lost 2 NFL quarterbacks in back-to-back years. They got decent weapons, but you got a brand new quarterback. You got a better defense there. I think the defense will be better than their offense this year, which is not an Oregon.
That'll be the first. Yeah.
Right. It's not a staple. It's not what a casual fan's going to be paying attention to. I just think Oregon in the Pac-12, sure, you can start them there preseason. I think the Big Ten's too good this year, top to bottom, especially in the middle, where they're going to get caught by a bunch of teams, especially if they're traveling. So I'd pay attention to that schedule too on what their flight patterns are. So I'm going to toss Oregon. I'm also going to toss Michigan. Big lot of hype on the freshman QB, and he could come in and set the world on fire. They finished strong last year. Obviously, a big win against Ohio State, but that was not a good football team last year. So if you're going to say they have a good offense and they have a good defense, I don't think they're elite in any on any side of the ball. So again, people are kind of penciling them into the playoffs, and I think that's aggressive. So I'm a longtime Nebraska supporter, if you will. I think Dylan Raiola, don't call me Patrick Mahomes, is going to light it up this year. The only thing I don't like about them is Matt Rule. And, it's the same thing with Cristobal. How many games is he going to lose? That line's 2.5 easily. And he hasn't beaten a top 25 team, I don't think, ever. So they're going to play better. Black shirt defense will be good. Might be a step back from last year. But again, something to pay attention to. I think Iowa, Illinois, both are going to make some noise. And I think one of the two of them are going to knock either an Ohio State or a Penn State in a regular season game. Mark, don't call me Gronowski from South Dakota State, transferring in. The defense is tough. You got a new offensive coordinator in there, so this is not going to be a first person to 10 wins the game with them anymore. I just think they're going to be well coached. I like the new offensive coordinator. I like what he did, and I like the kid coming in from South Dakota State. But Illinois is returning a top 5 offensive line. That matters. They're loaded on offense returners with all their weapons. They were 1 win away last year from being a playoff team. So I think they're this year's Indiana in that conference. And I see you pointing the finger at me.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's funny you say the Indiana thing because their schedule is extremely favorable. Have you
Correct.
seen their schedule?
Right. I think they're the Illinois. I mean, they're the Indiana this year, and Indiana might be the Indiana of last year too. Signetti wins. Just ask him. And, they're relevant. But do they take a step back? I mean, it's Indiana. I mean, if they're 10-2, is that a disappointing season? If they're 9-3, is that a disappointing season?
No.
Not for that program's pedigree.
Especially if they have some strong wins too, for sure.
Yeah. So again, I already tossed Penn State, but overwhelming offense. That's what I keep hearing. Is Eller an overwhelming quarterback? He's good.
I mean,
he's going to step up.
They lost the tight end. Obviously, it's a huge deal, right? I mean, he was a monster last year. But they have 2 of the best running backs in the country. They both are coming back. They have a great offensive line, which they always do. So they don't ask a lot from the QB. I mean, we know that. I mean, they have a great defense annually. They just replace people who, I mean, even though they lost Carter, they still have edge rushers that are coming in to replace them. So, I mean, to me, the question about Penn State isn't necessarily their talent. I think they're more than talented enough to win the title. The question is Franklin, right? I mean, we haven't mentioned him yet. I mean, he's the question, right?
The question is when did this turn into a debate? I thought you were asking me who I liked, and I was getting
no.
And I'm just getting laid to the carpet on Penn State.
No, not at all. Not at all. Anyway, Bubba, how about you? What are
I'll
your
be
thoughts?
quick.
I'm going to pick Ohio State. By the way, that's my winner. Thank you.
All right. Which is not a bad choice. Bubba?
I love it. I'll be quick on the Big Ten. I for the record, I'm picking Ohio State too, but we'll talk about that later. Michigan throwing them out, absolutely. They don't have the same magic, absolutely not. Penn State, the Big Ten, and even the Big 12 has been the same thing every year for me, and it's the fact that it comes down to tackling, and so nobody in the league can tackle. No team in the league can tackle. And so offense wins. And I think Ohio State has the best offense. I think they've got the best offensive player in the country. And I think they're gonna walk away with the Big Ten pretty easily.
Okay. But what about the quarterback? You worried about the quarterback at all there?
What he's got? We played one game last year. He's a former 5-star. I'm not too worried about him. He's get the ball to Smith and let him run.
He's got the same hype as the kid from Michigan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're both freshmen. They're both supposed to be electric and elite. And Bubba makes the point, right? And I heard somebody talk about it today, and the guy made a joke. The guy is clearly in his late 50s, early 60s, and he's like, I can't throw a football. I could throw a football to Jeremiah Smith.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think, for what it's worth, I think Penn State might be a little bit like Michigan a few years ago when they won the national championship. Just pound the rock, control the pace of the game with pounding the rock, and you can win games. Keep Ohio State if they get to that point where they're playing the better offenses.
Yeah.
Your quarterback's going to have to make a couple throws. I think Aller can make a couple throws, but if they can control the pace of the game the way Michigan did 2 years ago, you can win football games clearly. And if you know the other team's plays.
And let's be clear. I'm not suggesting Penn State's like going to drop out of the top 15, not make the playoffs.
No, for sure. They could easily lose 3 games though, and easy.
Right, but again,
wait. Three games? I'm sorry, Ash.
Franklin can get you one easy.
Yeah, but wait. Let's be. We got to be fair, okay? Franklin beats everybody he's supposed to beat. I mean, I think he's like 180-6 in his career against teams that they're favored over. Okay,
not named Ohio State or Michigan, basically.
But they're never favored over those teams. That's the problem, right? So they beat the teams they're supposed to beat. They lose to the teams that they're underdogs against, and sometimes they're excruciating losses, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's games that they have the lead and they. So look, and again, I'll shut up in a second, but Harbaugh couldn't beat Ohio State until he did, right? Sure. And so, I mean, there's always these coaches who everybody says they can't do it until they actually do it. So
and then they do it,
yeah. So we'll see what happens. But all right, I'll shut up.
Just to complete the exercise: Open with Nevada, win. FIU, win. Villanova, win. Oregon, win. At UCLA, win. Northwestern, win. At Iowa, question mark. Mm-hmm. Should win, most likely will win. Going to be a tough game.
Absolutely.
Why is it a tough game? Because the next week you got Ohio State. Mm-hmm. So if you're caught looking ahead in any way, shape, or form, right? And then when you come out of there, you get Indiana at home. Now that's probably a trap game for Indiana because they're looking at it going, oh, well, they're in the gauntlet of their schedule. We got a chance, right? We'll see what happens. Indiana hasn't shown they can go into a place like Happy Valley and win. Yeah. Michigan State, win. Nebraska, win. Rutgers, win. So at best, there's 1, maybe 2.
Well, you're guaranteeing they beat Oregon.
Oh, I am.
Yeah,
I am.
If you just guarantee every win, then yeah.
But we can clip that, and you can play it right after the Oregon, and I'll just do this for everybody, right? Oregon's not going to compete with them in Penn State.
Valley.
It's not going to happen. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So I'll drop the mic. That's all I got.
They beat them last year.
Don't sleep on Rutgers.
That was last year.
I know, but you said that it just guarantees.
I will sleep on Rutgers, Bubba.
I bet Oregon last year against Penn State. So I'm just saying, Dylan Gabriel's no longer there.
Well, real quick, Tyler, do you have a who thinks will win in the conference? Do you have a pick here or no?
I coin flip between Ohio State and Penn State.
Okay.
I mean, they're not that much odds difference really, so I probably wouldn't even bet it.
Before we get to the SEC, let's just talk about Notre Dame since they're really the only independent that matters. They got a ton of talent coming back this year. Them, like a lot of teams not named Clemson and Penn State, have a question mark at QB. Okay, they just announced that they're a much ballyhooed 5-star recruit that they brought in a couple years ago will start. So CJ Carr is going to be the guy that starts against Clemson in a couple of weeks. Miami in a couple of weeks. Look, they got if the receiver from Ohio State is in the best offensive player in the country, Notre Dame's running back Love might be. He's a beast. They also have a great backup. So from a running back standpoint, I mean they're set. Their line. I mean the one thing that they do is recruit offensive linemen as well or better than any team in the country. So it's like an offensive line factory. As people go to the pros, they just replace them with another 6'7", 300-pound guy. So they're loaded on the O-line. They got like I said, they got a ton of people coming back. I'm expecting a pretty big year from Notre Dame. I'll be surprised, and my apologies to Garbs. I'll be surprised if they lose to Miami. I think they'll just play defense, run the ball, and maybe throw the ball if and when they have to, take a couple of deep shots. But you guys have any thoughts on Miami before we get? Notre Dame before we get to the SEC.
You threw out ballyhooed, and I haven't heard a word you said because all I keep thinking about is Goodwill Hunting and no more ballyhoo. So yeah, I agree with everything you said. I mean, they're gonna be there at the end of the day. They'll be in the dance and see if they can. Same thing we're talking about with Penn State, right? Can they win the big game instead of the games they're supposed to win?
Yeah, fairly easy schedule, right? Not too difficult.
This year, this year it looks that way. Yeah.
So it's just like you just said, Jay. Are they going to win the games they're supposed to win? Because they've slipped up in years past where they've lost, a game they should have won, and it cost them. I'm not saying it's going to cost them because if they win the games they're supposed to, and they beat some really good teams, and they can get away with maybe one loss. But yeah, it's I love the running back. I think he's going to run over a lot of people this year, and he's going to run hard. So I'm excited to watch him. I'm probably going to go to a game at some point. I'm thinking the USC game. One of my really, really close friends is assisting a GA for them. So he's
nice.
He's excited about it. He likes the team, so he's hyping him up, and I'm rooting for him. So go Notre Dame.
Love some love.
All right, Ash, I'll let you lead off with the SEC. What do you got?
Woo! Penn State football. Dangerous under the radar. Auburn. Talented skill position. Cupcake back half of the season. Could make some noise. Not going to beat anybody significant, but could make some noise. So if you're gambling out there, especially on plus lines, mid-season on, stay with them if they're catching points. Mizzou, super soft schedule, good offense, loaded defense. Might even flirt with a small unit play there to make the playoffs. Could be a sneaky team. The schedule could put them in a position. So that's my dangerous under the radar teams. Hype teams, and I'll go quick with all of these because you can make a case for. I think the case against is easier. So not to hurt one of the friends of the program's feelings, but the Gators, he'll hear it in text messages throughout the season. Listen, in Lagway we trust. If he's healthy, they're going to be a good team, right? The kid's a stud. Really turned it on last year, but he may or may not be injury prone. We'll have to see what that looks like. They have an absolutely brutal schedule.
Absolutely.
They're one of those teams where if they only have 3 losses, they might still get into the playoffs. That's how brutal their schedule actually is. Ole Miss falls into that category. Kiffin's good for football. He's newsworthy. He's a good coach. He just plays in a ridiculous conference. They lost a ton of NFL talent on the defense last year. So the offense will be okay. It usually is under him. I just don't think it's going to be a strong season. Again, 3-4 losses seems realistic for them. Last year's darling, South Carolina, I think everybody's overlooking how much defensive talent they lost to. The QB's going to have a good season. They're going to be in games. They're well coached. They have a brutal schedule, bookend, and they got to finish the game. They got to finish the year with Clemson. So rivalry game, big game, going to be tough. And then A&M, the big thing here is everybody likes the fact that you replace the coach with an actual coach that has proven to win games. So they bring in Elko from Duke. Should have a much better offense than last year. The defense is stacked. I made the joke about the NIL money with Texas Tech. We know what A&M's been putting in NIL. I mean, it's almost an NFL salary cap roster on that team. So we'll see how good Elko can do. It is a different conference. He's probably good for 2 wins, but 2 wins on that team last year doesn't get you to the playoffs. All right. So I think it's a 4-team conference, maybe 3.5. Nussberg could be, again, number 1 quarterback in the country, question mark. Heisman, question mark. Number 1 pick in the draft, question mark. So as he goes, that offense is going to go. Obviously, skill positions are always good. Defenses improve based on what we're hearing. Again, Brian Kelly, over under 1.5 or 2.5, games you're just not going to win. I don't see it. The last couple of years, he hasn't lit it up. He doesn't always win the games he's supposed to win, and he doesn't win the big games. And he's got to open the season with a huge game again this year out of conference, but, a perennial, top 5 team. So I don't like LSU, but not going to be surprised if they're there. Bama, top 5 defense is in play. Their floor is typically top 20. So at top 5, can the new offensive coordinator bring some offense back? You got Ty Simpson, who has pedestrian numbers in the small amount of times he's played for Bama, but people are excited about him. They've got, as always, they've got weapons for days. They got one of the best wide receivers in the country. So I think Bama's going to be real sneaky. I'm going to say it before I jump to the other team. They snap Uga's 33-game home streak opening weekend. With that, Uga, they're auto-installed as a top 5 perennial team, as they should be. Kirby Smart's, he's Nick Saban now as far as most are concerned. He's got the pedigree. The team is always ridiculous. However, new OC, new QB, tough schedule. Could be the year. Again, 2 or 3 losses. Not a bad season for most. Might not get you into the dance or the championship. And then it's Texas, Archie. My only problem with Texas is Jughead's the coach. So as much as you love Archie, another guy that just seems to piss on himself in the big games. Could be because he was drinking. I don't know. But might have the best defense in the country, let alone the conference, right behind Bama. Lost a lot of wide receiver talent. Should win all their home games. Wouldn't be shocking if Texas takes it.
All right. That's a lot of info. Bubba.
That's a lot of info. Yeah. What I'll say about Texas and Arch Manning is we've seen him like sprinkles of him, but he's getting a full clean slate. So we'll see how he takes it. Right. I like what you said about Georgia. That's one of the reasons I like them, though, is because most of their really, really tough games are at home. And I think they got 1 game on the road against Tennessee, which is a ranked team, but everybody else is at home. And we know their record at home. So I like them a lot. I do think that there's a lot of hype around, Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss. I don't see it. I don't think they're ready. I think they're close. They're going to put up points like they always do, but their defense, if they don't show up there, that's going to be trouble. I do like Missouri, though, and only because of their schedule. They play hard. So, Jay, I'm not going to repeat all of the stuff that you said, but you made some really good points, and those are the ones that caught my eye, and I kind of have the same thing written down for them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm very interested in seeing Texas. Obviously, everybody wants to see Manning play. I mean, he's not a rookie, but he's played very sparingly over the past couple of years. So you expect that maybe he's going to make some mistakes that, cost them a game or two, right? So we'll see what happens there. Georgia is obviously sort of a wild card because, for them at least, they had a bit of a rough year last year. Again, the quarterback's a bit of a question mark. I'm not, LSU. I'm not as down on Kelly as it seems like Ash is, or maybe some other people are, but I don't know. LSU, they always seem, and again, maybe I'm wrong because based on what I'm going to say here, but they always seem to lose a game that they shouldn't lose. But that seemed to used to happen before Kelly got there too. So I don't know. Maybe it's a culture thing. I don't know. I'm probably maybe a little bit higher on Alabama than some people. I think that the head coach sort of got stuck with Milroe. So now maybe with Simpkins, he's able to run the type of offense he wants to run. We'll see what happens there. But let's flip it here. So we're not gonna we'll do this quickly. Let's flip it now and look at it from a wagering standpoint, right? So we're gonna start with the Big 12. So we're gonna start with the Big 12. So just so everybody knows, we're looking at sort of a hodgepodge of lines, and we have a consensus. So these lines might not match up perfectly with what maybe you're looking at your book, but we're looking at sort of a consensus of multiple sports books, and that's what we're going to go with here. With the Big 12, I sort of hinted at this earlier, and let me take a step back. The sort of the exercise here is, if you had $100 to make a bet. So this isn't necessarily who you think is going to win. It's, value. You're looking at value. You're looking at, obviously making money. So if you had $100 to bet and who's going to win the Big 12 conference, who would you put the money on? As I said earlier, I'm actually pretty big on Utah. They're plus 600 in the Big 12. So my money would probably go on them. I'm a big believer in the trenches. Their lines are both coming back. They've again historically been really good on defense, and with the new quarterback coming in, I like Utah. So plus 600, I'm throwing 100 on the Utes. Bubba, what about you?
I got man, I'm torn here. If it's $100, I would probably split it 50 on two teams, 50 and 50. But I'm going to stick with the program here, and I'll take Arizona State at plus 574 is what I'm seeing here.
Okay. Ash?
So the way I did this is I broke it down and said who will win and who I'm betting. And
okay.
So who will win? ASU plus 574 would be that number. But who I'm betting is K-State plus 550.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So you're actually taking the favorite, but you think Arizona State's going to win.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, again, we're using blended odds from 7 books. I mean, depending on what book.
Right.
ASU is a couple pennies higher, but yeah, I mean, I just think K-State they're the favorite. I like everything about them. I like the bet. I'm not going to put the extra money on ASU. I just think it's K-State's year.
Okay.
Just a hunch.
We're gonna flip to the ACC. Again, I'll go first here. I'm gonna maybe steal, just based on what Ashton said earlier. I might be stealing his thunder here a little bit, but if I had $100 to throw on the winner for the ACC, I'm taking Louisville. Plus 750 based on what we're looking here. I actually think they're going to have a much better year than maybe some people think. I think they're sort of a dark horse to win that conference. All apologies to Clemson and Miami fans. So we'll see what happens there. But Bubba, who's your choice for the ACC?
I like Miami at plus 400. That's what I'm cheering for. If I had $100, I put it on them. Clemson's plus 100, so you're not making much money. It's probably a safe bet, but I understand. It makes me understand why you would take Louisville, right? You're getting great odds there with a pretty solid team. So I think Miami a little bit safer. Miami plus 400. I'd throw my 100 on them.
Ash?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of when you're betting plus odds, you're conceding that you're potentially lighting $100 on fire, but the value and the payback is good. But if you also approach the exercise of I want to win my bet, sometimes betting 100 to win 100 makes sense. So who do I think is going to win? I think it's Clemson. Who am I betting? I'm betting Clemson.
Okay.
Sorry, Paulie.
Producer Tyler, any thoughts or?
I was gonna say Louisville as well, just from a betting perspective. I like that bigger. Okay. I think they have a good defensive line, good defense. If their offenses can perform out there, I think they got a fair chance to kind of backdoor it in there. They were hung around the ACC last year with Clemson having kind of a down year, so maybe take another step forward this year.
Yep. Okay.
Listen, just real quick. Miami's plus 400. SMU's plus 874.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
if you're going to throw a flyer out there, or if you want to do something where you for those that like to spread some things out, if your budget is 150 instead of 100, you could put 100 on Clemson, put 25 on Miami to win you 100, it covers that bet, and put 25 on SMU to make 200. SMU wins, you cover all your action at plus. Worst case scenario, you're breaking even. I'm sorry, worst case scenario, Clemson wins, you still netting 50. So
or Louisville wins and then you get screwed.
Well, yeah, so many. All of a sudden, we're horse racing.
Yeah.
Okay. Big Ten. I'll let Bubba. I'll let you go first. Big Ten. What are you thinking?
It's too close. It's the same thing, right? It's too close between Ohio State and Penn State. It's not enough to move the needle. I'm taking Ohio State plus 195. 100 gets you 195. That's a safe bet, in my opinion, and it's not enough to move the Penn. The Penn State's not convinced me enough to go get an extra, $50 or whatever it is, or $40.
Mm-hmm. Ash.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I already gave you all my thoughts, so obviously I'm picking Penn State. No, just kidding. Who do I think? Ohio State. Who am I taking? Ohio State. I'll take the plus 195. I mean, it's almost 2-1 for the bet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tyler, how about you?
From like a gambling perspective, if you just gave me $100, I might take like Nebraska just because like a plus 3,000, like a crazy. But like, I don't think they play anybody. Now you're betting on Dylan Raiola being like literally Patrick Mahomes to be able to do that, but he's trying to be. So maybe just, I mean, again, if you give me, he looks just like him. I'd probably throw it on Nebraska just to be fun, because again, they have a pretty weak schedule. Like they might get into the playoff because they don't play many people. Because I don't think they had to play one of the three big teams this year. So I would lean Nebraska.
I would personally love to throw $100 on Illinois just because of the schedule that we talked about earlier. But but again, for me, since I said earlier that I think Penn State's going to win the conference, and they're getting plus 230 based on what we're looking at here, I would pick Penn State. So that'd be my choice.
Yeah, and listen, it's a 30-cent variance there. So I mean, it's an even. There's no shock there. It's 1-1A. So
yep. No doubt. SEC, Ash, we'll let you go first on this one. What you got?
All right. So this one, it took me a minute. I went back and forth quite a bit. Who wins it? It's Texas at plus 270. Who am I betting? I'm betting Bama at plus 400. Anybody?
You do think Texas is going to win, though, huh? It's like outright. You think they're going to win it?
Well, listen, Anybody that's known me since college and saw me in the college years knows that my Bama hat and I were inseparable. I like the rebuy. I think last year that new coach walked into an impossible situation. You can't replace a legend. Not year one anyway. I think year two is different. I think the defense is the difference this year. I think Bama kind of lost its identity even with Saban towards the end, where the defense was bend, don't break, give up a lot of big plays, All-Americans all over the place, but for some reason still giving up 25, 30 points a game. Jeff, you and I are old enough to remember when SEC football was about the defense and not the offense, and it's turned into an offensive juggernaut-style conference. I think the defense, I think at the top, I think it's Texas, Georgia, Bama, and then what we're hearing out of LSU, it's all defense, right? So the offenses will play. Bubba's point about tackling matters. That conference, the top half of the conference tackles. So yep. I'm hedging there a little bit. I do think Texas is a strong team, just like they were last year. We're going to learn a lot week one with both Bama and Texas. I think if Bama can go in and shock the world, and that's what it'll be a shock. Georgia's won 33 straight there. I think it sets the tone for the season. I think the schedule is manageable. I think they get to the playoffs, and it's just going to come down to seeding.
Okay. Bubba, how about you?
Yeah, I took the same approach, although I don't think that Texas is going to win outright. I think they're going to run into Georgia at the end of the season, and I think they're going to get beat in Athens, and then I think it's going to, if they see each other again, it's going to happen again. But same thing as the Big 12, or sorry, the Big 10. I think Georgia and Bama are too close to matter. I mean, it's plus 330 and plus 400. So for me, I like Georgia. I think they're a better football team at plus 330. So I'd take my 100 to throw it on them. I don't know about Texas's tackling, but we'll move on to Jeff. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not as high on Texas as I mentioned earlier as everybody else. I mean, just to make this quick, I'll echo Ashton, and I'm going with Bama at plus 400. So, Tyler, anything to add?
I think LSU might have the Heisman Trophy winner, so I'll just go with maybe they just light it up again offensively, plus 700. They got, I mean, the SEC's a gauntlet, so, I mean, it's tough any way you slice it. Also, you can maybe throw, again, if you gave me $100 to light on fire, maybe Florida just catches lightning in a bottle with Lagway. He stays healthy, and he's just a freak. And he does something special with plus 1,800. Shout out Matt. Emrod, that one's for you, Emrod. Florida putting $100 on him.
Tex Matt will enjoy that.
Yes, he will.
So you guys aren't aware of this, but Schlittler for the Yankees was pitching a no-hitter in the 7th inning. He just gave up a single. So, yeah. Yankees are up 2-0, by the way.
Ellis, for the record, LSU is only going to be as good as Brian Kelly's Southern accent.
What a joke.
Which is not good. Yeah, which is not good.
That's
all right.
On that.
So let's wrap it up here. National champion. Again, if you had $100 to throw on a team to win the title, who's it going to be? And let's start with Tyler in this one. Tyler, who would you bet to win the title this year?
I was originally kind of going in with maybe again LSU again just because I'm banking on Nussmeier just having a freak year, being a Heisman Trophy winner and them just balling, but it's tough this year. I don't know where I would actually put my money. I'll just go with LSU. Just think right. They're gonna have a good offense. So if Brian Kelly can just kind of stay out of his own way, maybe they can catch lightning in the bottle, like I said.
Yeah, well, that's plus 1,400, so that's not bad.
Bubba, return. I like Georgia at plus 700.
Okay, Ash.
I actually broke out the what I thought the playoffs would be. I think the country is going to lose their mind. I think 4 teams from the SEC get in this year. I think Notre Dame's the only independent. I think a team like Boise, which everybody is pretty much penciling in, I think they get bounced by Mizzou or Illinois from the Big Ten. I think Big Ten sends 3. I think Big 12 actually does send 2 with K-State and ASU. I looked at this a lot, actually, but the trend's your trend until it's not. But the last 5 national championships have all been won by a team inside the top 5 preseason. So that hasn't shifted with the playoff system, and it didn't shift last year with the extended playoffs. I stared at Texas and Ohio State for a while, plus 524, plus 537 respectively. Then I stared at Bama coming off of what I was saying at plus 1,000, so 10-1. And then I went back to preseason top 5, potential Heisman Trophy, dominant offense, again, top 5 defense, dominant defense, and a coach people think might have lost his fastball, but I think it's Dabo's year. So Clemson.
Okay. This won't be a surprise based on what I talked about earlier, but I'm going to stick with Penn State. So I just think it's their year. I think Franklin gets over the hump. Plus 700. I'm going with the Nittany Lions. So, all right,
all different conferences.
Yeah. Well, for me, if I end up being right, that'd be three titles in a row for the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Which would make a lot of people down south very unhappy. But we'll see what happens there. So, all right, good stuff.
How could you bet with Dabo Sweeney? Oh God, it's disgusting, Jay.
If I had $100 for the record, if I had $100 to throw on a Heisman winner, I don't know if we're getting into that, but I'll say mine real quick. Jeremiah Smith plus 1,000, absolutely 10-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm on that as well. And Tyler, I'm not making out with Dabo. I'm just betting him.
Nah, you might as well be.
Okay.
Might as well be. I just can't stand him.
For the Heisman, who am I?
I got Nussmeier, like I said. I'd just be putting all the eggs in that basket.
You know, for the Heisman, I would probably go with, which goes back to, again, all apologies to Garbs, but I'm on Clemson, and I'm going to probably go with Klubnik for the Heisman at plus 900.
Good bet.
So,
Good bet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gonna be a fun year.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's gonna be some good college football this year.
Yep.
All right, well, let's shift gears. Let's go right into bragging rights.
All right, so we can all kind of clap along here to a chant if you want to, which is "fuck the Lions." Dun,
Yes.
dun, 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 dun. All three of the bets would have hit if the Lions would have hit, and this is Jeff's bet here. He had the Lions over the Dolphins, he had the Seahawks over the Chiefs, he had the 49ers over the Raiders, and the Vikings over the Patriots.
Yeah,
All
so
but the Lions hit.
Well, no, actually, I'm the one holdout there. The Patriots won that Vikings game, so I
Oh, my mistake.
yeah. No, well, whatever. I still got screwed by the Lions because that ended my my hopes. But yeah, the even if they won, the Patriots would have took me out.
So we got that Jeff bet, and then we got Jay Oberg came in the top 10. You had the over in the points in the Ravens Cowboys game, and the Chargers and the Rams over. Lions again let Jay down.
Yeah, 3-1, second week in a row. President Trump clearly, didn't see what he thought he saw at practice. He said it was the most dominant practice he's ever seen. Miami looked terrible. It was all about the Lions, and I got sucked in.
They almost came back. They almost came
was-
back and won it though. It's crazy.
I was on Truth Social, and I just got lit up. It was bad.
And then we had Bubba. Bubba had the Tigers to win. He had the Lions to win, Bucks to win, Ravens to win.
3-1. Everybody
3-1.
except the Lions, so no reason to
But
harp.
again, another opportunity this week. Jeff, why don't you go through yours here, buddy?
Okay, so as far as I got the Yankees winning by at least 1.5 runs, which means obviously they have to win by at least 2 runs. Right now they're up 2-0 with 1 out in the 7th. However, Tampa does have 2 guys on base. I got Judge hitting a home run, which he has not done yet. He's going to get 1 more at bat, so we'll see what happens there. And then I have the Brewers winning outright and the Giants winning outright. Giants game hasn't started yet, and I'm not sure what's going on with the Brewers. But Brewers game doesn't matter if Judge doesn't hit a home run in the next 40 minutes here. So there you go. 25 plays, $761. So nice payday if it all comes through. But again, I need Judge to hit that home run.
And I think we're going to hear the same story here with Jay's bragging rights this week.
Yeah, I'm on the Judge homer too. Obviously hit one last night, but we're playing in the spring training park. These guys know that field, and the ball's hard to keep in it with those guys. So I thought he would hit a home run tonight. He should get 1 more at bat, so we'll see what happens. I also have the Yankees over 4.5 runs. It was plus money. I used the in-game same game parlay, and the only reason why I went over 4.5 runs had nothing to do with last night in the barrage. But the Tampa pitcher, who has a healthy ERA at 2.50, I just thought he wasn't going to be able to contain them tonight. I thought we'd jump on them early. They did, and then it cooled off right away. So anyway, Patriots plus 230 to add some juice. And hey, guys, Kansas State college football Saturday. You heard me talk about them. So let's see if the Yankees can turn it around for me, or else it doesn't matter.
Well, hopefully Judge hits a 3-run homer, and we're both happy. So
Yeah,
great.
be nice.
It's just lovely.
And then we got Bubba's bragging rights right here.
I think I'm going to get out of the podcast without being out of it.
That's exciting. Sounds like it might be the only one.
I got the Cubs plus 107 tonight. They're up 3-1. I got the Padres, who are playing the Giants later on, just to win the game, money line And then this weekend, I got the Titans and the Bengals to win both of their preseason week 3 games. 25 to win 210, not a bunch of money like the other guys, but it's in good shape right now. So
you and I are going directly up against each other there with that Padres Giants game. So one of us isn't coming out of it. So
yep.
2 men enter, 1 man leave.
Yep.
Well, that's where we got bragging rights this week. Let's try and get one. We haven't had one in it feels like a while now.
Yeah, too long.
Yeah, I might have to change this segment up. So, all right. Well, we're getting towards the end here. A couple things before we wrap up. A little bit of housekeeping with an attitude and an edge. We've said it before. We're excited about it. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the college preview. I would strap in and bring some extra drinks, some comfy clothes, and if you're out on a walk, make it an extended walk, because we're going with the NFL preview next week. From a gambling standpoint, we'll do a similar format where we kind of give overviews, but we're going to hit it hard when it comes to the gambling aspect. We're going to pick division winners, conference winners, Super Bowl winners. We're going to get into individual awards as well. So like I said, strap in, get ready. We're excited. Football's here. College was fun. NFL is going to be more fun. You thought I was going to say funner. So we're really looking forward to it. And then be on the lookout over the weekend for a huge announcement on our social. A little bit of tease, but we will officially drop this next week when we do the pod. We will be bringing something to NFL Sundays that has never been seen before. Literally never been seen before. We're pumped about it. We think it's really going to change the way gamblers approach Sundays, and we're really excited to talk about it. So look for a little tease over the weekend and then a full announcement next week when we record the pod. So other than that, guys, I don't have much else.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining.
Yep. Good,
all right.
Good show, guys. All right.
Follow us on the socials at Casual Chaos Live.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. We picked up a subscriber today. I may or may not be married to her. It's always good when you can grow your fan base from within. So big shout out there. Well done. Another subscriber. We're on the board. So good to YouTube. Hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate the following, and we're
let us
looking
know
forward
what you think about our takes. Yeah, let us know what you think about
absolutely. And you can call us out all year long. We'll clip these things as teams start falling off too. So all good, guys. It was fun. Appreciate it.
Awesome. See you.
See you.